guys and girls, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. So today we are going to do a different video, still kind of on the topic of sex, but not sex worker related. So I'm hoping that you guys can get some entertainment from this, because I love watching these types of videos. I love watching like people's sex lives and things like that. Like, I'm a weirdo. So I'm hoping that you guys can get some enjoyment from this as well, and actually maybe learn something, because what I'm about to tell you I didn't know could happen until it happened to me. So let's get into it. Stay tuned. Okay, so I was seeing this guy for like a couple of weeks, and we had been on like a couple of dates. I'm usually somebody who doesn't like have sex straight away, not because I'm like stuck up or anything like that, but just because mainly I like to make sure that the person I'm giving my body to is worth it, and I guess so. Whatever, I'm at work, and at this point I'm working in a nightclub, just as a bartender. It wasn't like a strip club or anything like that. It was literally just a regular schmegular normal nightclub. So I'm a bartender there, and you know, I decided to spend the night with this guy that I was seeing. So everything's good, bearing in mind that he lives in London at this point, which is close to me. So I go to pick him up from the train station, and we go to a hotel. Everything's good, vibes are good, everything's crystal. I'm really tired at this point now, because it's literally like 4 in the fucking morning. I am so tired. I have dealt with people on cocaine all fucking day, people screaming, drunk ass motherfuckers that are just a mess, throwing up everywhere. And if you are a bartender, I give you props, because I done it for I've done it for 5 years, and it's a hard ass job. So well done to all my bartenders. But you know, I was so tired at this point. I was just literally regretting this whole entire plan. Like, I just wanted to get into my pajamas and get into bed. But I didn't want to cancel because he's travelled. So I pick him up at the train station. We head over to the hotel, and I'm secretly hoping that he's just going to be like, let's just go to sleep. But deep down in my mind, I know that he's not going to say that. So we get into the hotel room, everything's good, vibes are good, you know, we're doing our thing. I go and have a shower, because at this point I stink of bleach. If you are a bartender, you will know that like chemical smell when you have to clean down at the end of the night, and I'm just like, no, that's not attractive. No. So I have a shower. I don't even bother at this point redoing my makeup or my hair, because at this point I'm looking at like Hagrid from Harry Potter, but I literally don't care, because I just want to go to sleep. But anyways, so I get out of the shower, we start doing our thing, we're laying on the bed, vibes are going, you know, shit's going down. He goes down on me. This is so awkward. So, oh, I feel mean saying this, but he was not good at all. So yeah, basically he didn't know how to eat, and he was really confident in his skills. Like, he was so confident in his skills, like overly confident in his skills. So I'm laying there, and I'm literally fake moaning at this point, and I'm thinking to myself like, oh my god, if I just continue to fake moan and he keeps eating me out, maybe I can get like 15 minutes of like a nap, just like a little bit of sleep. So whatever, he's doing his thing, it's pointless. It's at this point, it's literally doing nothing for me. I'm so turned off. And he is like, okay, right, so let's get to it, basically. So at this point, like, he's ready to go. I'm so tired. He is ready to go. Like, he's ready to beat it up, and I'm just like, just Netflix and actually sleep and chill. But so he puts the tip in, and I'm like, okay, listen, I'm really tight down there. You need to go in slow. Like, let's use lube. That's exactly what I say to him. No, babe, you're wet already. You're so wet. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I'm probably wet because you just spat everywhere. Like, you just spat everywhere on my vagina. You know, it's wet because of your fucking slobber. But anyway, he's like, no, you're wet enough. Don't worry about it, babe. Like, it's all good. So I'm like, okay, cool, fair, whatever. Just stick it in. But I did say go in slowly. So he puts a tip in. It's all good. All of a sudden, this motherfucker rams his dick right inside me, and I am sat there like my soul left my body, and it wasn't even in a good way. I could have cried, but I was so tired at that point that I just took it. I just wanted to sleep on this comfy ass bed that I had paid for. So he's doing his thing, and I'm fake moaning or whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, you're really wet. And I'm thinking to myself, hang on. Hang on. Why am I wet? Because I am not turned on right now. This should be like the Sahara Desert. I am not turned on in the slightest. So why am I wet? Like, why? So I put my hand down there, like, really sneakily, kind of like touching his dick, like pretending to touch his dick. And I look up, and there was literally blood all over my fingers. So at this point in my head, I'm thinking, shit, I've come on my period. Shit. So I push him off. I'm like, stop, there's blood. And he's in shock, obviously. And it was everywhere. It was all over me. It was over him. It was over the bed. It was just a fucking mess. So I run to the toilet, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I've just come on my period. Like, this is so fucking typical. Because nothing had happened to this to me before, ever. So I'm sitting on the toilet, and I'm wiping myself. And, like, you know when you have period blood and it kind of stops for like that split second when you're like wiping yourself? This doesn't stop. Like, this is getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And I literally look like I have been shot in my vagina at this point. So I'm like, oh my god, I can't call my mum because one, it's awkward as fuck, and two, she doesn't even know that I'm at this fucking hotel. 3, you know, I wouldn't tell my mum that anyway. Like, that's just awkward as fuck. So I ring my best friend who I work with at that point, so I know she's gonna be awake. And I'm like, hey, really awkward, but I need some help. And I explained the whole entire situation to her, and she's like, yeah, so kind of sounds like he's torn you down there. And I'm just like, so what? Huh? She's like, yeah, you know, like, it can happen when there's like too much friction, or you're not wet enough, or anything like that. And I'm like, that's actually a thing. Like, I've heard of like being torn down there when you have like a child or something like that. Like, that's pretty obvious. But I wasn't expecting it from having sex. Bearing in mind that this guy's dick was huge. It was like a fucking elephant's trunk. Oh my god, it was abnormal. It was like, I like long dick, but I don't like long dick and then like thick ass fucking dick. Like, no, too tight down there for that shit. It's uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't want it. So at this point, I'm literally sat on the toilet like a fucking dickhead. Bearing in mind it's like 6:30 now. Oh, I'm still tired as hell as well. So I'm like, oh my god, I can't even go to sleep now. Like, what the fuck, what am I gonna do? And then my friend's like, yeah, you're gonna need to go to hospital because you're gonna need to get stitches. I'm just like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I am not going to hospital to get stitches. Imagine how embarrassing that would be. Also, bearing in mind this is on a Saturday night, so all of the drunk motherfuckers that have probably been in the club that I was in are now probably in A&E because they need to get their stomachs pumped or they've been in a fight or bloody something like that. And here I am for bleeding vagina. Absolutely not. Like, imagine talking to a nurse like that. Oh my god, what is my mum doing downstairs? Imagine talking to a nurse about that. Like, awkward as fuck. So I'm just like, okay, well, hospital is out of the question. I would rather bleed to death on this toilet than go to hospital. That is facts. Like, I would rather, yeah, I would rather bleed to death. So I'm sat on the toilet with tissue, like, pressed up against me as hard as I possibly can to try and stop the blood flow. And this guy comes in and he has the audacity to say to me, "Are you a virgin?" Sorry? I was like, what? And I was just, I didn't even reply. I didn't even reply because I didn't know what to say because it was just fucking awkward. It was just awkward from the moment. It was just awkward. And it wasn't until like 2 minutes later that I was like, he just asked if I was a fucking virgin and I've been having sex since I was fucking 15 years old. What? So anyway, the blood starts to stop a little bit now. So I'm like, okay, cool. What I'm doing is working so far. So let's just go to sleep. Let's just go to sleep at this point. If we bleed to death, we bleed to death on the bed. Let's just fucking go to sleep. So I go to sleep for like an hour. I wake up. This motherfucker is still asleep. At this point, I want to get out of there. I was too much of a nice person because if I was in that situation now, I would have got my shit and left like instantly. However, back then I was too much of a nice person. So that was my mistake. That was like my biggest mistake ever. Other than trusting him to say that I was definitely wet down there because I wasn't. So I'm laying next to this guy who is literally snoring his fucking head off. And I blow on his face so that he wakes up because I just want to get my shit. Like, I wasn't a rude person back then. I'm still not a rude person now, but I feel like my circumstances have changed and like my attitude has changed towards like a lot of things. So I just wanted him to wake up so that we could both get dressed, get the fuck out of here, and I could drop him back to the train station so that he could fuck about my life. So that's what happens basically. We leave. I drop him off the train station. Whatever. The bleeding did not stop for 2 fucking days, you guys. 2 days. I was still bleeding. It was ridiculous. And he messages me the day after and he's like, "Hey, you okay? Blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, fine, still bleeding a little bit, but it seems to be stopping." He then goes on to tell me that his mates think that it's amazing that he's got such a big dick that it made me bleed. I'm sorry. Sorry. What? Excuse you. This was not something to be proud of because it just showed that you didn't really know that the pussy was not wet and that you didn't use lube. So that's that. I then receive a message 2 days later to that from some fucking random girl going, "Hey, I was just going through my boyfriend's phone and I found a message from you saying that you was bleeding after having sex with him and I just wanted to know what was going on." And I'm just like, I'm out of here. Peace out, motherfuckers. I can't do this anymore. Oh my god. I burst out laughing. I of course told her everything because girl code, why would you not? She didn't actually really believe me, but that was her own fault. So yeah, and then I got a really angry phone call from him like an hour later, asking why I told his girlfriend everything and all of this. And bearing in mind that I didn't even know that he had a girlfriend at this point. So yeah, but that is my embarrassing sex story. I wanted to kind of do this because it's quite funny now that I look back at it. This is literally like 5 years ago now. So I look back at it and I do laugh because it's just so awkward. But at the same time, I never knew that this was something that could actually happen during intercourse. So again, I kind of want to put this out for like promotional purposes, educational purposes as well, a little bit. I mean, you guys can laugh at me all you want because I literally still laugh at me all the time about this. Ridiculous. But yeah, like, just goes to show that even if your pussy is wet on the outside, doesn't mean that it's wet on the inside. And if it's wet on the inside, doesn't mean that it's not going to dry up during intercourse. So always use lube, kids. Always use lube. But that is my embarrassing story. If you guys have any embarrassing stories, please tell me. I love these kinds of things. These make me giggle so much because they're so awkward for everyone. I just love them. I'm a weirdo when it comes to things like this. These are my like favourite videos ever. So hit me up if you have any stories, and I will see you guys soon. Love ya.